What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Gonna wait for some people to come on here. Try to get some viewers up here and get this thing popping. Fix my camera so you guys can see I get all this stuff out of the screen. We'll do that. Yes, indeed. Get stuff out of the screen. I probably should have kept that book there for note-taking purposes at any expense. But maybe grab it back. So we got a book, got the goat fuel, and we're gonna wait till some viewers come on here and we're gonna have a conversation. So I wanted to first and foremost share the goat fuel with you, the goat fuel. I didn't drink any today because I started late. Well, I started super early, and I don't know, I was motivated this morning, so I didn't need no whole lot of drinks. What's going on? Welcome to the channel. Today I'm just talking about general security, and it's a question and answer session. So welcome to your channel. Feel free to introduce yourself. And if you have any questions, you have any thing that you want to talk about, then feel free to ask. This is the platform to ask questions. And you know what? I'm not even sure where my mic is. All right, I put the mic on here. Let's see. Here we go. Ta-da, we should be connected. No, we're not connected. We don't have no power. Hey guys, what's going on? Got a microphone issue. Hopefully we should be on. There we go. All right, we're on now. What's going on, guys? Thank you for joining the channel. Today is nothing. The topic today is just for you all who know, probably you follow me. I'm not sure who's on here just yet, but we'll get some followers to come on. But for you guys who know me, I work in the bodyguard business. It's the executive protection business. For you guys who are not familiar with the term executive protection or close protection, I work in the bodyguard business. So make it real simple and easy for you so that you understand what I'm talking about. So I've been protecting high profile people for about 30 years. Prior to protecting high profile people for 30 years, I was protecting citizens of the Washington, D.C., the city of Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, as a policeman, and that's how I got into the business. And before I was protecting people of the nation's capital, I was protecting people in my community, just as a young man of integrity, and also raising, pretty much, I could say raising. I was raising two younger brothers. So my mom and dad moved us into a community. What's going on, user? What's up, Blue One? Hello, thank you for joining. So my mom and dad raised us in a community. When we first moved into that community, it was a nice community. My mom and dad, because my father was the breadwinner, bought the house that we lived in. The house then was $35,000, and now that house is worth $500,000. But the community went through some transitions. So it was an Air Force community. A bunch of people from a local Air Force base lived there. And then they started to transition out and go to other places in Maryland once pretty much the black people started moving in. I hate to say that, but it's the truth. And we lived there in the 1980s, in a time where the crack cocaine era was just beginning, 84, 85. And so that's kind of the start of how I got into being a protector or protective person. Hey, Blue One, thank you for joining. Everything is well. Somebody's actually serious on here on my other phone, want to answer the questions that I didn't ask. So anyway, so I grew up in that community. We moved there when I was 7 years old. So I guess that's 77, 78. And then from 77, 78, the time of 1984 hit, it was a 84 PCP, depending on where you live at. PCP, Love Boat, what they call it. They call it a whole bunch of stuff. Boat, they call it Sherm Sticks. They call it a whole bunch. I don't know where you live at. So if you had PCP in your community, where you grew up, where you were raised at, tell me what it was called. But in my community, they call it that Boat, Love Boat, Sherman Stick. I'm sure it has a bunch of other names, but I'm glad I don't have any addictions. Welcome to everybody that just joined. I'm glad I don't have any addictions, because when I saw that helped me out a lot. What I saw in my community growing up as a young man in Washington, D.C., the outskirts of Washington, D.C., it really helped me to walk a straight line. And so I seen people take this drug and then, take their clothes off, run down the street naked, jump off of buildings, jump off of bridges, punch police car windows out, break handcuffs, all of that good stuff. And I said, that is something that I don't want to do. And then also, I became more of a protector, because the community that I grew up in, as I said, it was a nice middle class community until the crack cocaine era hit in 84, 85, 86. And then my street became an open air drug market, in so much that my father was shot out front of my house in a robbery. And my father was a GS government employee who went to work every day to provide for his family. So for that to happen for him was, it was just eye-opening to us. And then I had a childhood friend, maybe about within the last 10 years still, because the community is still transitioning. Even though my parents' house is worth $500,000 and they bought it for $35,000, that community was still transitioning. It's a lot better place now. So there's no crime and violence there, and people don't hang out. But some people moved into the house next door to my mom and dad, and they turned that house pretty much to like a drug house. And so people were coming and buying drugs, and all of the boys was hanging out and outside the house. And one of my childhood friends went to that house and used to hang out at the house, and somebody rode past the house or walked up on him and shot up the house, in so much that my parents still had bullet holes in their house until they got it fixed just recently, a couple of years ago. So I grew up in a really, really rough environment. And in addition to seeing that, I saw a lot of the good, upstanding, Christian, church-going, government employees that were my friends' mom and dad's parents, that just got strung out on crack cocaine, and they were selling TVs and microwaves, and they were selling their bodies and all this stuff. And I said, wow, at a young age, 18, I knew that's something that I didn't want to be. Thank you. You just said I have a good family, and you are to a good man or God man. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that. So I saw all of that happening, and I knew that that's what I didn't want to be. I also saw my mom struggle, right? So my mom worked minimum wage jobs, and we talking about the 70s, 80s, early 80s. My mom had two or three jobs. She's working two for minimum wage back then was like $2.25 or something like that, $2.25, $2.75. And so my mom would go to work, and we had all the opportunity in the world to be corrupt kids, to be gangsters like our friends. But my mom would go to work. My dad worked midnight shift. My mom would work around the clock because she didn't make nearly as much money as my dad made. So just left me and my brothers home by ourselves. So at a young age, I remember my baby brother, when we moved into that house, he's now 47, I'm 54. When we moved into that house, I used to have to take him, I was in first grade, I used to have to take him to the babysitter and drop him off at the babysitter. And my mom showed me how to warm up bottles and how to change diapers and all that stuff. So I would take him to the babysitter before I went to elementary school. And when I came home from school, I picked him up from the babysitter, fed him, changed his bottle, changed diapers, made the bottles and all that stuff. So I learned, I had to become responsible really fast. And that from the time I was seven for the next 11 years until I was 18, I was pretty much raised my brothers, because at some point around the age of 13, 14, 15, my mom and dad separated. And so we were left in a community without a leader, and a leader in the house. in a community that wasn't a community, really, it was a neighborhood. And once when we moved there, it was a community. Then it had turned it into a neighborhood. And again, I seen all of my peers, my friends, the people who I played football in the street with, built snowmans and did all of this stuff, went to elementary school with. I saw their parents become zombies overnight. And I said, man, you know, I didn't know anything about law enforcement. And I could have easily been caught up into some of the things that my friends were caught up into because their parents were absent. And even though my mom and dad were separated, they were still good parents, right? And even though they weren't home, they were good parents and they laid principles down to us, on us and to us. And so when they weren't there, I still knew that on Sunday we was going to church. On Saturday, we was going to Bible study. I also knew, you know, that I had responsibilities for my younger brothers. So I couldn't be out in the street doing what my friends did. And also when I did hang out with my friends would be selling crack. They would be selling PCP. They would be selling marijuana. They would have guns. They would steal cars. They would, you know, they would rob people. They would do all of these things. And when I went to their house to hang out with them, even though because in the community, you can't say, I mean, it really, a lot of people turn out to be bad people in life because of their environment. It's pretty much what it is. Weeds grow in a bad environment. If you have a landscaping in your yard and you don't take care of it, if it's neglected, there's not a caregiver or a tender of that garden, then the weeds are going to grow and it's going to take over. And so that's what happened in our community. Again, we did have a caregiver, though they weren't there all the time. They did lay the foundation and taught us how to care for our own gardens. Thank you, user. User said every country needs more people like you. So, but when I would go to my friend's house, a lot of their parents were addicted to the drugs that had taken over our community. So my friends they saw the flash, they saw the glow, they saw the guys, the older guys and some of them were younger guys too, come in with the Acura Legends, the Mercedes Benz with the spoiler kits and the drop top, rag tops, rims. They had the gold chains, they had the EK glasses, the Gazelle glasses, the 8-ball jackets, the Eddie Bauer coats, the Timberland boots. The guys had everything. And so the younger guys, my age, 14, 15, 16, they started to migrate to doing what the older guys were doing. And I saw a lot of death in my community. A lot of my friends died. A lot of their parents died. I seen the parents turn to prostitutes. I also seen when I would go hang out with my friends, they were still kids, but they were gangsters and drug dealers. But we go to their house or their homes that oftentimes there wasn't a father in the home. And then in addition to that, their moms had got addicted to the crack cocaine. So they would actually, 8-ball jackets were the shit, LaRue. Yeah, 8-ball jackets, Gazelle jackets, what else? We had a lot of stuff in our era. But they were addicted to the crack. So my friends, we would go in there and my friends would cook up crack right in front of their moms, and they give their moms a working $20 or $50 piece or whatever. And the moms don't never say anything, And some of my friends, moms in the neighborhood hung together because they were crackheads, and that's kind of, I guess, like what drug addicts do. So nonetheless, I saw what the community was when we moved there. I saw what it turned into, and I realized I didn't want to be, though it was tempting to be like my friends. Or I didn't want to be like my friends, and I didn't want to be like their parents. I didn't want to be the problem. Okay, Detroit's in the house. Are you still in Detroit house? Are you still in Detroit, Joe? So that's how I became a protector. So I was a protector in my community first. When I saw that, I started working at Burger King. Yes, sir, Detroit. I hope to bring one of my executive protection classes there. I attempted to do it first before, but when I did it a lot, it seemed like it wasn't a lot of interest in Detroit. So, and I'm glad you guys are on, because I'm actually talking about the executive protection business, and I'm kind of segueing in how I got into executive protection business through the way that I grew up as a protector. And so after I was 18, I had a job. I was working at the Department of Energy. I had just gotten that job. It was a stay in school program. So half of the day I would go to this job and work, and then I would get off, and then I would go work at Burger King. So when I was working in Burger King, a young man came to the counter. The young man came to the counter, and he was really young. He was in plain, I mean, just dressed down, some jeans, a t-shirt. I kind of like remember it like yesterday. And he says, I want, Whopper, I want this, I want apple pie, onion rings, and large Coke. And then he says, oh yeah, and I want my discount. And I looked at him and I laughed. Oh, discount? Discount for what? And he said, I'm a police officer. I said, bro, you're not no police officer. He said, yes, I am a police officer. I said, how old are you? He said, 20. In Detroit, know this. I think you could be a police at 18 years old in Detroit. Am I right, Joe? I'll let him answer that. But I believe that you can be a police officer at 18 in Detroit. Yep, 18. Ain't that wild? You can, I guess they say, if you can go into the military and carry a AR, a M16, then you can patrol the streets of Detroit or Michigan at 18 years old. And that was wild to me. So, at that time, I didn't know that, but I learned later, but through my career as a police officer, that you could be 18 and be a police officer in Detroit. And do they take a lot of 18-year-old people? I know that's the bar. I mean, that's the lowest bar, but the entry level. But I wonder if they take a lot of 18-year-olds, and do you see them in the community? Do you see them in the community patrolling the streets, and what's the maturity level? But nonetheless, this young man said, I don't know, I was a criminal. Joe said I was a criminal my whole life. Joe, I got to talk to you offline, man. I was on the fence, I can tell you that, man. But just good upbringing and examples around me helped me. Helped me to not walk down that path. One of the things where they used to send me to South Carolina, Edgefield, South Carolina, and Augusta, Georgia every summer. And at first I hated it, but once I got down into Edgefield, South Carolina, and you had to wake up in the morning and get eggs and milk cows and all of this stuff, man. I was building houses with my older cousin, and farming, and then down there I could drive a car and without a license, nobody bothered me. I really love the country, and I live in the country right now. I live in North Carolina. I moved from DC to North Carolina. My office is still in DC. It's a 4-hour drive, and I can get there pretty quick, and it's like a 45-minute flight. So I'm in DC and New York just about every week handling business, even in my office in Arlington, Virginia, or over in New York and Lower Manhattan. So, but back to the story. So the man, he asked me for a discount. So he was 20 years old, and I said, how did you become a police? Outside of Fayetteville. Yeah, I'm in Hope Mills. I know what Hope Mills is. Right now I'm in Raleigh. So the young man, so he says, well, I went through this program, and he told me about the program, and I said, give me the number to that program. He gave me the number. I called. The man answered the phone. He said, I'm sorry, young man. We ended applications for that program last week. And I just had a sigh. I just sighed. I was like, man. And he said, you know what? I tell you what, just come on up here and apply. And I did. And I went up the next day and I applied for the program. They accepted me to the cadet program at 18. And I spent a year, 18, I spent 2 years as a cadet program. I worked in different places in the chief's office, the PIO office, the public information. And I worked in the police academy. So I learned a lot during my time there. And when you turn 20, you go into the full police academy, and then you graduate at 20 and a half. So that's how I became a protector. And I patrolled some of the hardest streets in Washington, D.C. And oftentimes I've seen some of my friends that I grew up with. And, they gave me my respect when they saw me, and I gave them their respect when I saw them. And some of them people are still my friends today, the ones who are still alive. And some of them are still doing jail time from when we were 18, 19 years old. So that kind of lets you know the environment that I grew up in. So while I was working in Washington, D.C., as a police officer, I used to work with a lot of the local celebrities. I had no idea what I was doing. So I was working in the clubs, and I worked with the local celebrities, and then the radio stations would have like events and stuff like that. And then celebrities would come in, and because I was a police officer, I would get these gigs. It's like certain celebrities, I would get the gigs. Now, A lot of people believe because you're a police, that you're are a police officer, that you're fit to be an executive protection agent or a bodyguard. I mean, just make this clear, that that is the furthest thing from the truth. They don't teach you in the police academy how to be a bodyguard, just like they don't teach you in a bodyguard school how to be a police officer. So a lot of people who are police officers believe that they can do the job just because they have a firearm. And they get, I'm gonna have to be honest with you, a lot of people, clients don't know that these people don't know how to do the job. They are only saying, hey, I want a police officer because that police officer can carry a firearm. Now, the truth of the matter, that police officers cannot carry a firearm off duty for outside work unless their department approves it. Now, if they get caught doing some bodyguard work with the firearm and without having approval from their police department, a lot of those guys get fired or can get fired. So, you know, that is their only reason that they get jobs, not because they're smart, not because they know the craft. And a lot of them never even study the craft. You know, you feel like they do, I guess, what they feel like is natural. So if you watch any of my videos that I post online, a lot of those guys are police officers and a lot of them are, you know, messing up big time. And in a lot of occasions on it, some of them are even getting the people that they are supposed to be protecting killed. So you look at the video of Ron DeSantis on my video, all of his security personnel, his bodyguards were actually state police officers. You look at the video that I just recently posted, I believe it's a YouTube short, of the Ecuadorian presidential candidate. He also, his whole security team were police officers. When you look at, there's a YouTube short and a long form video of the mayor of San Jose, I believe, whatever it is, saying something, you'll see it. He is also a police officer, and that mayor's bodyguard, executive protection agent, gets beat up by a regular guy walking down the street, embarrassed, and you know, simply there was an easier solution for him. But so when you get people who are police officers, they start acting like police officers, right? They start trying to take police action when they should be taking evasive action. So if you watch that, I want to say it's San Jose, it's saying something. It's saying something. I did that video about a year ago. But this guy, he tangled this bodyguard, quote him, and he tangles it up with a regular guy. The guy looks like Wale. He gets into it, falls down to the ground. He got these church shoes on. I call them church shoes. So those are the shoes that got the hard bottoms and they really shiny. And then he got the tight suit with the tapered pants leg at the bottoms, and he started tussling with the guy. Next thing you know, he's on the ground, getting whooped on, and then citizens got to go pull the guy off of him. Now, what actually happened is that there was a door right here. So he was protecting the mayor, quote unquote. He was protecting the mayor. The mayor was giving a press conference. There was a door right there to the building. So this guy walks up and he starts talking to the mayor, interrupting the press conference. The bodyguard, who's a police officer, jumps in the melee and starts trying to police him, right? The guy's like, I ain't having it. Who are you? And then he commenced to doing what he said he was going to do and putting the whip down on him. When simply there was a door less than 3 feet to the left, the person who was the police officer or the bodyguard should have just said, Mayor, Mr. Mayor, let's just go in here and tell this guy passes by. Real quick, simple solution. He never had to say anything to that guy. That guy would have went about his business, and the mayor would have came back out 5 minutes later and finished his press conference. But that's not what happened. The guy took police action. San Jose, there go my man Bungie Adams. Bungie, thank you. Bungie is one of my guys. Bungie came through my class in Miami 2 years ago, and we've been rocking and rolling ever since. So Bungie, next time I go live, I'm gonna try to go live on YouTube every day. Next time I go live, I want to bring you live on here too. But it's not like Instagram or one of those TikToks or one of those things. So in order for me to go live with you, I have to actually set it up and send you the link. But I love for you to come on and talk to the people because you're a wealth of information and a fresh breath of fresh air to have around. Let me answer this question real quick down here. You really need the gun. It's more about keeping people at a distance. And there you go. Joseph LaRue says you rarely need a gun. It's more about keeping people at a distance and stopping drama before it starts. Right. So when I said conversations and things, conversations about, with the professional bodyguard, yes, I rarely carry a gun. 9 out of 10 details, am I ever armed? And this is my whole 30-year career. And if people ask, if you can you carry a firearm, or I want armed people, the first question you got to ask is why? Why do they need? Because the question why determines how much you're going to charge and what you need to do, not only to protect those people, but also to protect yourself. Now, if they say I got a stalker, I have threats on my life or something like that, then the game changes. You just can't say, oh yeah, you will need an armed agent. Yeah, that's $150 an hour, $125 an hour, or whatever it is. You can't say that. You say, okay, why do you need an armed agent? And they're simply going to say, because I have a stalker, I have pictures and videos, they call my house, they threaten to kill me, kill my children, stuff like that. So this is not just a regular guy with a gun. As an agent, you need a guy who's actually trained with this gun, who has a special set of skills to get you out of situation and to be able to return fire if necessary. But ultimately, even if you got a gun, if you don't do your basic executive protection job, which is called advanced work, which means go before you go, so you can know before you know. So you just don't want to walk into any type of situation. So going before your principal and before your team, having somebody on your team to go and check everything out, see the lay of the land. If you find, so we have two things. We have advanced risk assessment and threat assessment. And I'm giving y'all a whole lot of game, right? I'm gonna give y'all a whole lot of game real quick. You have advanced risk assessment and threat assessment. So a lot of people use risk assessment and threat assessment interchangeably. They are two separate things. A risk assessment is simple as this. If we go here, what are the risks? What things could we face that would cause danger to our principal or ourselves, right? If we were going to Hawaii, could it be a volcano eruption? If we were going to LA, could it be protests? If we were going to Chicago, could we be prone to gang violence? If we're going to our principal or our client has trade secrets. If we're going to China, could they possibly be spyware entered into our vehicles, into the principal's hotel rooms? You know, those are risks. So you can think about a whole bunch of risks. They could slip and fall. We could get kidnapped. That's a risk. We could get shot. That's a risk. We could get assaulted. That's a risk. The principal could be inconvenienced. That's a risk. Paparazzi could be there. That's a risk. We can get into a car accident. That's a risk. But what is a threat? If those are risks, what are threats? All right, so I'm gonna answer some questions. While y'all ponder that, if those are risks, what is a threat? The liability increases for the agent to carry a firearm, correct. Yeah, Joe said I got a particular set of skills. That's right, from taking. Listen what he's saying. Thank you, B. Lava Red Rock. So those are all risks. So what is a threat? So a threat is something that we actually know is going to happen. Not that may happen, or Max actually may know what's going to happen. So let's just say we have a principal or client and they have a stalker in Miami, Florida, and we're going to Miami, Florida with this principal. When we go there, during our risk assessment, we have identified that this person actually lives in Miami, Florida. This person has actually has stalked them on their social media platforms, said all kind of weird stuff, And now we are going to Miami, and through our risk assessment, we found that that person will be in Miami. Not only will they be in Miami, they will be at the event that we're attending. Now, that person has turned into, the encounter with that person has turned in from a risk to an actual threat, because this person has made threatening statements. He's made weird statements. Maybe he or she has stalked the person before, sent them letters, any of that. Now that person is no longer a risk, it's a threat. If we're going to Miami and it's hurricane or tornado season, and the weather reports, we know that it's tornado or hurricane season. Oh, let's call it Kansas. We know that it's tornado season. So that's a risk. If we go there, we might run into a tornado. But if they give a storm warning and say that a tornado is coming, that is no longer a risk. It is now a threat. And you have to plan for threats. So that's the difference between a risk assessment and a threat assessment. Isolated client from the threat. That's right. Say hi to the Brazil boy. What's up, Brazil, bro? Everybody say hello to, you look like, hello, I don't know how to say that. Badura de Silva. I don't know how you say how you pronounce that. That's an H. I know in Spanish you pronounce it J-H. So hey Badura de Silva. I think I said that right. Give me a thumbs up if I said it right. Everybody say hello to Hey Badura de Silva. So anyway, that's the difference. So I'm gonna tell you what people believe that the executive protection business is. It is actually not. It's a very, very boring job. You train up to the level where you can do the work. You make yourself valuable. you make yourself valuable to the team, to your principal. But why a lot of people don't make it is because they never take that training. They believe that they were in the Army and they believe that they were a police officer, and that should be enough. And that keeps them from moving forward, because if you don't take yourself seriously, nobody else will take you seriously. All right, if you don't take yourself serious, nobody else will take you serious. So what I found out, the people who are the best in this game, one, I don't know, what walk of life, what ethnic group you guys are in, but for African American, black men, even some brown men in this business, you are not supposed to work with high-level people. You're only relegated to Wale's, Jay-Z's, you're rappers and athletes are what you're relegated to. That's what you're supposed to do. If you work outside the realm, it's going to be very, very hard for you to elevate yourself in a corporate or political environment. I can tell you that. And that's some of the things that I experienced. So there is still a bit of racism that goes on. Joe say, I'm white and grew up my whole life in Detroit. I know it. Then Joe, if you're white and you grew up in Detroit, you are not white, you are black. But either way, skin color doesn't matter to me, man. You're a brother, and I appreciate you being on my live and your contribution to the conversation. So, but I mean, honestly speaking, white people have a better chance than black people excelling in the business. So as a black man or black woman, you have to do a lot more than other people just to get into that environment. And once you're in, you're still skating on thin ice. So what I recommend is that you start to build your resume, right? Start to build your resume, start to get those certifications, start to connect with the right people, get into the right associations. Then some of the things that you are going to need to know, nobody's your brother, nobody's your friend. The friends and brothers are just now, that's a loose word like love. Like, hey, I love you, when people don't really love you. Nobody's your friend, nobody's your brother. These are your colleagues, constituents, and people that can help you grow in the industry. So you need to find those people and then start to cultivate those relationships with them. And not on some friendship, but on some, thank you, De Silva. I really appreciate it. As I got a super chat, I appreciate it. Let me just give him a like. Thanks, guys, man. I'm doing this channel, and I want to encourage you guys to talk about topics. If you got questions, and Bungie will tell you this, if you have questions, please ask the questions, okay? Because you can only grow, and he'll tell you about his growth too in this industry. The next live that we come on, he'll tell you about his growth. I don't mind talking to a camera. There it goes right there. Invest in yourself is the key. I don't mind talking to the camera for you guys, but there are a lot of questions, right? You guys have about this business. Otherwise, some of you all wouldn't even be on here listening to me if you didn't have questions about the business. And if you don't know anybody in this business, it's really, they are gatekeepers. And I always say, I am not a gatekeeper. I am a gateway to your wildest imagination and your dreams. And I may not look like it, but I am a gateway, not a gatekeeper. But some people will try to keep you repressed and keep you down from excelling in this business. So one of the things I'm going to tell you guys, if you're breaking in, don't be afraid to do shit for free. Don't be afraid to do stuff for free. Don't be, when I first, so I was telling y'all my story and I just veered off the story. I told you guys I got into the police academy. It was up from there. So then I started working with the local celebrities. Then the radio stations would have like events. They would have events and the people would come to the events and celebrities would come to the events. And then I got those jobs as a police officer handling security for those events. Eventually, as I went up through the ranks in the police department, I moved to better police districts. They moved me from the hood to the good, as they say. So I moved from the southeast side of town to the central downtown where the monument, the Capitol building, the White House, and all of that stuff is. Now, down there is the State Department, the Secret Service, the White House, the Capitol building, the Congress, the House for the Congress, the House of the Senate, the House of the Senate, everything is downtown, and all the events happen downtown. So what that did was catapult me right into an environment where I was working hand in hand with all of these agencies, right? Because the State Department had VIPs from other countries come in, then we had to work with those VIPs from the other countries, be it giving motorcades or additional support to the State Department to help protect those VIPs, be it prime ministers, kings, princes, ambassadors of other countries, or etc. And then the same thing with the Secret Service. We always had POTUS, the President of the United States, was motorcades. And so we always had to incorporate our officers into the POTUS movements, all right? So I built relationships with all the people in the know, you know, and then when they moved me to the 3rd district, it was a street called Embassy Row. And on Embassy Row, nothing but embassies. Every embassy that you can imagine from every country was there. So I built a lot of relationships with the people who were actually doing the job. And I'll tell everybody this, and I tell everybody this without shame. I've never gone to a formal executive protection class, and I really didn't need to go to a formal executive protection class. Everybody can't say that as a police officer. And the reason I can say that because the people who trained me were at the top level of their game in the world. So once I started working with those people in the police department and building the relationships, when those people retired from the Secret Service and the State Department, a lot of them started their own security companies. And because I had built those relationships and I had already been working in the protection industry, protecting local celebrities and then more national celebrities who came in with the radio stations, it was easy for me to catch on to what they were training me. So all the training that I learned, I had was on-the-job training. I'm the Black Don Bongino. Yeah, thanks, man. Well, y'all who don't know Don Bongino, he's the executive director of the FBI. And I don't know if Joe, you was on yesterday, but he didn't even come to work Friday. He's so pissed off with, what's her name? The U.S. Secretary. I just talked about her yesterday. The U.S. Secretary General of the United States, Attorney General of the United States, that he told the man that if she didn't become forthcoming about the Epstein files, that he was going to quit. And he didn't come to work Friday. He didn't tell nobody he wasn't coming to work Friday. They couldn't find him. He was pissed off. So Monday, I don't know if he came to work or not. Oh, wow, Joe, thank you, man. Listen, if you just found my channel 2 minutes ago, when you get off, I don't know what level or what, oh man, that brings a tear to my eye. I really appreciate that, man. If you haven't browsed through my content, man. You're gonna learn a lot. It's executive protection school by watching videos, right? There's still a lot more that you can learn, but just watching the videos, all the mistakes that I'll talk about, you'll be able to see them for yourself, why these people made these mistakes, how these high-level VIPs got assaulted, and some of them even assassinated. So this is a very interesting channel to watch, and I have a lot more coming for you guys. In about 3 weeks, this channel is going to take off like a rocket ship. I have some stuff in production, and so in the next 30 days for sure, 30 to 45 days, this channel is going to take off like a rocket ship, and you guys are going to be glad that you met me. Todd Mosley said, why a lot of bodyguard EP agents do not wear bulletproof vests? Okay, that's a good question. Before I answer that, because I got off track, let me just finish my point, and I'm coming right back to that. When I started, so I started working with all of those high profile people. They had started their own companies, and they brought me in. And so everything that I learned was on the job training from the people who did it at the highest level. What's your name? My name is Melvin Key. Joe, my name is Melvin Key, and I own MVP Protective Services in Washington, D.C., and we protect primarily, when I tell people Fortune 50 companies, a lot of people never heard of Fortune 50, so I say Fortune 500, but we protect VIPs and executives from the top. A lot of our clients are in the top Fortune 50 companies, which are the top producing companies or financially stable companies in the world. And out of that top Fortune 50, we have at least 3 in the top Fortune 30. So that's what I do. And we also protect high profile executives, other executives of corporations. We protect politicians and high level government officials. That's my name. That's what I do. So now Todd Mosley asks, why a lot of bodyguards and EP agents do not wear bulletproof vests? Well, some of them just don't. I mean, I don't even know if there's a rhyme or reason to that. I don't know if some people can't afford them. Some people don't feel the need to wear them. When I was at the Diddy trial, I saw all of the U.S. Marshals, even though they were indoors where weapons couldn't be, no matter what floor they were on in the building, from 1 to 28. None of them, all of them had on their body armor, and I just believe that that's a requirement. I don't think they have a rules, that they can just bypass and say we're not going to wear our vests. But in the EP profession, there's really no rules. That's why it's so wild, and that's why so many things go wrong and go on, is because there's nobody to enforce the rule. To be guilty of that myself, some of my people are on here watching right now. We don't wear a body armor either. And the reason that we don't is because we do our homework. So if you do your homework and you're doing your security advanced work, or you're doing your risk and threat assessments, you already know what you're up to. So let's just say you're working with Jeff Bezos, right? Let's call it Jeff Bezos, and Jeff Bezos wants to travel somewhere. Before Jeff Bezos gets there, there will be a team of people that go there and report back to the actual protection team that's coming with Bezos. So they will have boots on the ground in advance. That's kind of why we call it advanced work. So they'll be reporting back to, just say I was the close protection or the personal protection officer for the client. They would be reporting that back to me, and then we make our decisions on what we need to do to protect our principals or our protectee or our client based on the information that we've gathered in the planning process. So if there's going to be an actual threat on the other side, not only will we wear bulletproof vests, we would also recommend that our principal wears body armor as well. So it just really depends on the risk the leadership of the organization, and the information that you get beforehand. That's really what it is. Risk, threats, information beforehand. And for me, if I've done my homework, I know nobody knows I'm coming. I know nobody knows where I'm staying or where my principal and our client is staying and our team is staying. They don't know when we're coming. They don't know where we're coming. So when we go, and they don't know our itinerary. So when we go, we're in, we're out, we're landing. If we're coming down and the principal is in their hotel room and they say, okay, I want to leave at 6 o'clock, the pre-team is already, the advanced team is already down in position. So, and the close protection team is with the principal. They come down with the principal. The advanced team or the other team members will meet in the lobby. Somebody may already be out at the car. They're already looking. So we got control of the situation. And that's how you can, stay safe. You're just always in control. Your planning is always not one step ahead. And I think Joe said it before. So you get your 10 steps ahead, 100 steps ahead. And, we train for that reaction. But it's never a bad idea to wear a body armor. It's never a bad idea. Do you have to be proficient in Krav Maga or any other martial arts? I used to box. You don't have to be proficient, but I would recommend that you do. There's no requirements. So I say there's some things that you need when you talk about certifications and stuff like that. I would recommend everybody to be proficient in martial arts, because what I think is Todd, I think it was his name. Yeah, what Todd Mosley asked, he asked why people don't wear body armor. If you watch some of these videos and you watch even the assassinations are point blank. They're up close and personal. When there's also a video of our training class from New York a couple of weeks ago, when the agents were walking down the line with the quote unquote protectee or the principal, and they were shaking hands, and one of the students pulled out a gun and just started to point it at the protectee. And you'll see the protectee, one of the close protection agent, attacked the gun, and you'll see me. I'm elated. I'm jumping up and down. I'm cursing because I'm just so amped, because I had been drilling this stuff into them for 40 days and 40 nights, long hours, 18-hour days, and over and over. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. And when that scenario came, that the agent didn't know which person had the gun, or if anybody was going to have a gun at all, if they were just going to shake hands and then walk off. But at the end, that student pulled out their firearm, and the agent reacted. And so everything, but even that was up close and personal. 3 to 7 feet is where most gunfights happen. So when, more so than being proficient in a firearm, you need to be proficient here. You need to study the game, and also you should be in that dojo. As Bundy said, you should be practicing a martial arts style, any style. Judo, jiu-jitsu, kung fu, karate, Krav Maga, Muay Thai. So these are the arts that I study. I study Krav Maga. I study Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which I just started. I just started studying Muay Thai. I studied Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, Wado-Ryu Karate, Kenjutsu, which is a sword, and I think I said Krav Maga. Those are the arts that I study, and I guess you can call me a mixed martial arts person, but that's what I study. And a lot of that stuff is close quarters. You need to be able to read faces, read hands, read body language. That's a big part of executive protection work. Read faces, hands, and body language, and respond accordingly. Any more questions? If not, I'm gonna take a sip of water and I'm gonna get back into this conversation. Shokin-ryu when I was 10. Yeah, man, if you can, just get back into it. It's good. Martial arts is good for the mental and the body. I hadn't been to a dojo. I hadn't been to a dojo religiously to train since COVID. Once COVID came, I moved out of the Washington, D.C. area, and I moved down to North Carolina, and everything was shut down. So I wasn't in the dojo for a while. And then soon as COVID was over, business took off for me like a rocket ship. So I had no time to go to a dojo. And then recently things slowed down, which is good. Which is good. I'm down about $500,000 this year. And I mean, I can't say I don't miss the money, because everybody needs money, but I'm totally cool with being down $500,000 because it has allowed me to spend time with myself, to focus on my family, and to focus on my third quarter, right? Because people say when you get to 50, that's a midlife crisis. No, that's not midlife crisis. That's damn near fourth quarter crisis, because the average American, and especially African American, I think African and Caucasian American lifespan is 72 years old. 72. So I'm 54. I basically got 18 years left on my life. So I'm damn near fourth quarter, more so than third quarter. But it's time for me to start focusing on my health, focusing on my family, focusing on life, focusing on the things that I want to do with life, and not work to live, but not live to work, but to, pretty much take the money that I've invested in my business, and the money that I've made, and then invest it in something else, and see my family grow up, my grandkids grow up. And one of the things I say about this business, this could be a very lucrative business for you. You can make a lot of money if you have the good character and you have great skill. So my grandson he just turned 1 in May, but his college is already paid for. I was able to do that, and I'm happy about that. And that's been not just being an executive protection agent, but owning a security company has allowed me to do that. So, if you get into this, I say don't get into something halfway. Invest your whole self into the industry, and it'll give you the returns. If you go and it'll give you returns with interest. It's just like a bank. If you go to the bank and you put $100 in, well, not these days, because they don't pay you any interest. Let's call it, it's like a stock market. And shit, but it is like a stock market too, because sometimes business goes like this, and then it could take a nosedive, man, and you don't know where it came from. Like I said, I'm down $500,000 already this year, but that is fine because I'm up $500,000 in my spare time. I'm happy. I'm up $500,000 in my family time, and I'm talking about value, because money isn't everything. You guys will learn that money isn't everything. Don't do something for the money. Do something because you love it. Do something because you're willing to die for it. And guess what? When you do that, all the money is gonna come. The money is on the icing on the cake. All right, let me read some of these questions. Oh yeah, showing Wataru and Okinawa karate. Yeah, that's right. I did the same thing. I did Wataru karate. Dad learned when he lived there. Yeah, absolutely. Todd said, is it okay to put a picture of you and your clients on the back of your business card? No. Don't do that. So one of the things that people, they frown upon is posing with clients in pictures. I am vehemently opposed to posing with clients in pictures. If you're with the client, here's the thing. If you're with the client, depending on how profile that client is, all you got to do is go to the internet after you with that client and do a Google search. Let's call it Janet Jackson in Washington, D.C. And within minutes or seconds, you're going to have a return of somebody who has taken a picture of Janet Jackson with you in the background. So don't be, in there like this with your client, doing all of this stuff and all of this stuff with your client. That's played, and a lot of people frown on that. They used to frown on me, right? A lot of people, and I don't call it frown on me, because they operate their business a certain way, and I operate my business a certain way. But it's clear that I have success. So they go, oh, Melvin, he shouldn't be putting pictures of himself and his clients on there. I said, well, you know what? Every picture you see of me and my clients, it's an action photo. I did exactly what I said I was going to do. What I just told you guys what to do. Wait till after the event or whatever you're doing is over, and then do a Google search, and your pictures will pop up. Now, some of my clients, I might have a couple of pictures posing with clients, but I mean, if you scroll through my whole Instagram, if you find two pictures with me posing with somebody, I guarantee you, they asked me to do it. They asked me to pose with them. So that's really it. I think I got the Secretary of the Army that Bungie did the detail with me. The Secretary of the Army, we took a picture with her, and then I can't remember. It's I can't even remember. What's his doctor? What's the guy name? The president. I never forgot his name. He was a presidential candidate. I took a picture with him because he wanted to take a picture with me, and we posted that picture. But and then I had President Trump's, what do you call it, press secretary when he was in office the first time. And those are probably the three people in my whole career that I posed with. And David Beckham. I posed with David Beckham one time. I was younger in my career then. But for the most part, you will see not only people posing with their client, you will see people like, you could tell that this is not an action shot. You could tell that they told somebody, hey, I'm gonna be coming here with Tom Cruise. Make sure you film me. And then they post it, and then they're like, yeah, me and Tom Cruise. But the truth of the matter, the people that do that, they don't actually work with the people, because they would have never had to pose with the people or to pose these videos in the manner that they do, because they're pretty much walking somebody in or standing around. The person's getting out of the car, going into the building, coming out of the building, going to the car, and that's it. If you watch those videos and you watch them closely, once the principal gets in the car and drives off, the person is still standing there. If they were their bodyguard, why are they still standing there? Yep. And Andrew said your business card should be professional. A picture on a business card is a note. Is a note in the advertisement. You're absolutely right. So your business card should be as plain and simple, right? A picture of your logo, a white business card, your name, your phone number, your email address, possibly your website, definitely your website, maybe your business address, but it takes up a lot of real estate. I would just say, if you're in Detroit, Joseph LaRue, Joseph Security Company, website, www.josephsecurity.com. Like we said, your name, email address, and then the city, serving executive protection services or security guard services or event security services serving the greater Detroit area, or serving Michigan or whatever. And then on the back of it, if you can put that stuff on there. You put your LinkedIn, which pretty much I wouldn't even do that. I put, you can put whatever you want on there. You put whatever you want, but keep it plain and simple. Plain and simple. What I find a lot of, I'll tell you guys this. I don't know how any of you guys own a security company on here. Something that I'm going to talk about in branding, about your logo and what your logo says about you and your company. So a lot of people use animals. A lot of people use animals as their logos. I've seen some lions. I've seen snakes. I've seen gorillas, tigers. I've seen eagles. So what does that say about your security company? Now, they say a lion is the king of the jungle. Pit bulls. I've seen pit bulls. A lion. Okay, I like that one. A lion is the king they say the lion is the king of the jungle. That is an incorrect statement. The lion is the king of the safari. The gorilla is the king. The silverback is the king of the jungle. Two different places. The gorilla would tear a lion into pieces. But when people see a lion, remember, they see pride, they see strength, they see dignity, they feel protected, because that's what a lion does. It protects the pride. Now, if you put the silverback on there, who's the king of the jungle, when you see a silverback, what do you see the silverback doing? You see him running through and tearing up shit. You see him throwing shit, literally. You see him tearing up stuff. You see him swinging for stuff, acting crazy. That means even though he's strength and he's the king of the jungle, what that signifies is that that is how you act. And if that's how the principal perceives that you'll act as a security provider, you are now a liability. And they don't want to have nothing to do with somebody that's going to cause them trouble and be a liability to them. So you have to, when you're building your brand, you have to understand oh, I forgot. And we got goats. We got goats. That's my logo. Yeah, right. Joseph said he's out of control. The security company is out of control. We don't want that kind of trouble. But they see a lion. They say a lion is going to protect. The gorilla's doing the same thing. He just goes about it in a different manner. You understand what I'm saying? So they don't want to see that you're going to cause a liability for them. They want to know that you can protect them. The other thing, a pit bull. Even though a pit bull is a bad mamma jamma in itself, a Canna Corso is a bad mamma jamma in itself. My pit bulls, I have quite a few in here right now, and I say if you come in here, they're just the alarm system. I'm the real problem. If you get past them, you really knocked on the wrong house if you get to me. But my pit bulls are sweet. If you come in, my pit bulls are going to lick you all over the face and all of that good stuff. So they're sweet. So they have a bad connotation about them, what people believe that a pit bull is. And it's not the dog, it's the owner. No matter what kind of dog you have. You can have a Chihuahua that's out of control. But when people look at these things and you have these on your business cards and you're saying this is what your business is, it's going to cause major problems for you and your business. All right, so I actually only wanted to talk for a few minutes today. So I'm going to answer a few more questions, and then we'll come back with more security talk over the next couple of days. I'm going to try to be on here every day, even if it's for 15, 20 minutes to talk to you guys and answer questions. And I do want to talk about the profession from a professional manner, because there's a lot of misconception about what bodyguards are and what they do. A bodyguard's job is really easy. The hardest part is probably getting to where you're going. That's probably the hardest part. But the planning, what we're doing before we even get to where we're going. So before I jump off, I want to ask any questions, and you guys probably wonder what these cans are. This is called Goat Fuel. This is a product, an energy drink made by NFL wide receiver, Hall of Fame wide receiver, Jerry Rice from the San Francisco 49ers. It is an all-natural energy drink. It has 0 sugars. It's made with cordyceps mushrooms and 200 milligrams of natural caffeine. And the best thing about it is it has 0 crash. So if you drink a Red Bull, a Monster Energy, anything like that, it has so much sugar in it. When you finally come down, you're really crashing and burning hard. But this stuff, I can drink 1 can of this stuff and I can stay up all day long. Yesterday I drank a can. This one is pineapple cream soda. Oh, you guys can see that. Pineapple cream soda. I drank that yesterday at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I couldn't go to sleep till almost 2 o'clock in the morning. So if you drink coffee, you can kind of kick the coffee to the side. I still drink coffee, but I don't drink it for the energy anymore. I drink it for the taste, because I've been drinking coffee so long. I just kind of like the taste. But if you drink this and you drink coffee for energy and you drink one of these, you will no longer need to drink coffee anymore. You would probably trade your Red Bulls in. I still kind of like Celsius because it makes me sweat. I haven't worked out with the Goat Fuel yet, but what I can tell you, if you're looking for energy and clarity and focus, then Goat Fuel will be your drink. You can get it on Amazon. They just got into 1,000 stores. They got into 1,000 stores, 1,000 7-Elevens. They're primarily on the East Coast, on the West Coast, in the Midwest, but they're moving to the East Coast, and I'm trying to champion that and with them, in partnership with them, trying to champion and get this stuff into more stores, because if people knew about this and you had 1 can of this stuff, I guarantee you whatever energy drink that you're drinking, you will no longer drink it. So check it out, Goat Fuel, Jerry Rice. They have an Instagram page. They are also on Amazon. You can buy the product. You may be able to get it at a discount if I share my link on there. So I'll try to get the link for you guys and post it in the description in this video after it's done. So my mic is cracking up. Okay. Said my mic. How was that? All right. So real staticky. Thanks, Joe, for that information. So anyway, guys, any questions that you have? He said, "Yeah, my door was locked for your protection, not mine." Absolutely. Thank you. I think it's where it was. So, any questions that you guys have, join my Discord. Feel free to send me an email. Make sure that you can follow Bungie Adams on Instagram. I am the right hand, but Bungie, Bunje, the right hand. I'm the GOAT TV on Instagram. I'm the GOAT TV on TikTok, and I'm the GOAT TV here. People who have previously known me as the security czar, I still go by that moniker, but I wanted to align more with my brand, so I changed everything from the way I see it with the security czar to the GOAT TV with the security czar. I'm going to be coming back. I'm going to be talking about building a security company from scratch, how to build it, how to incorporate it, how to find insurance, how to find financing. Okay, Joe, how to find financing, for how to finance your business, how to do marketing, advertising, website design, how to find customers, how to keep customers, how to do human resources, contracts, all the kind of stuff. If you're interested in, thanks, Bungie. If you're interested in and growing in this as your security business, building and growing a security business, I'm the guy you need to talk to. There's also in the header of my YouTube page, you can find all of my contact information, including email, and I will give you guys my WhatsApp if you want to reach out to me on WhatsApp as well. So I answer my WhatsApp personally. Sometimes it may take a little while for me to get back because I'm busy. But if you send me a message personally, and I will respond to you. And again, I said in about 45 days, this channel, as you see it right now, this channel will probably double in subscribers because we're doing some magnificent things with some content that is coming out that nobody in the security industry is doing, and especially nobody in the executive security industry. So I'm going to give you an inside look at what I do almost every day of my life, and I enjoy it. I still really do enjoy this business, even though I want to retire in 24 months so I can spend time with my family. But I still really enjoy it. I enjoy the private jets. I enjoy the commercial jets. I enjoy the private yachts. I enjoy the canoes. I enjoy protecting people, the process, the planning. I enjoy every part of this business, but at some point, I'm going to check out and I'm going to pass the baton to the young folks and the older folks like my friend over there, Bungie Adams. We're the same age, but he wants to still keep going, and I want to check out and can enjoy my life and family. So, but before I go, what I will be doing, I will stay connected to this industry, and I'll say, what's the going rate? So I'm glad you asked that question. Bungie said, I can't wait for the new content. Thank you, Bungie. So Todd Mosley said, what's the going rate to do a detail? Todd, that is one of the things that you'll learn. There is no going rate for a detail. The rate all depends on what needs to be done, how many hours you'll be working, if you're going to be armed or unarmed, and what the risks are, what the risks and threats are. That's how you come up with a rate. So if somebody's telling you, oh yeah, just $500, $300, $400, $1,000 a day, that is an understatement, and I wouldn't go with that rate. So when you're negotiating contracts, you definitely want to ask your client, what's the deal? Why you need me? Why do you need me? And be guided by the answers. So then you could put your number on it. And if they just say they don't like that and they walk away, oh well, my number is my number. I don't bend that, okay, maybe this is a customer that I'm going to keep around for a while, and they're going to give me more business. I could care less if you give me more business at all. Right now, I don't want more business. I want the business right now, but I want the business at the price that I want you to pay me because I'm well worth the price. And when you start getting to a bidding wars and how much this person is, how much that person is, or this company is and that company is, that's not fair to the industry. And that means that the client really doesn't value you. And more importantly, they don't value themselves if they're basing their safety off of a price, right? If their safety, if I want to get home safe and I'm the client and I call the company, I say, how much do you charge? And, first I'm gonna tell them my situation. I'm gonna ask them what's the rate for that. And if they tell me the rate, I might say, hey, well, listen, I appreciate you. Let me give you a couple of extra $100 per man on for your security team, because I want to go home at the end of the day. And you guys will find that there are a lot of clients that are asking for your services for you to protect their lives based on a number. And if they don't like the number, they go to a number where they feel comfortable with. I don't feel comfortable with dying. And I want the best people around me to help me get home at the end of the day. As the saying goes, beware the old man in the land where men, hold on, I'm gonna try to read this thing. Men in the land where men die young. Exactly. I like that. I like that saying. Beware of the old man in the land where men die young. If they need a deal they can't afford. You're right. I just saw another question. Do you want a knockoff or a real thing? Exactly. Here it is. You want a knockoff or a real thing? If you want a knockoff, go for the knockoff, and a lot of people do. But understand that you guys, especially you guys who go through the training, and I think Todd asked that question. Todd, if you go through a training, you will no longer need to ask that question. Not at all. Not at all. And you want to pay, and if you're the owner of the company or the security detail, the person who's in charge, then you want to be able to pay your people well and then put a couple of dollars in your pocket. So if I charge something, whatever I'm paying my guys, I get probably $150 to $200 off of that. So if I'm paying them $800, I might get $1,000, $950, something like that. But for myself, my rate it depends. I don't even move. You got to be $1,000 or better for me to even answer my phone. At $500, if you see me, I'm going to be at your door, and I'm going to be mad that you called me and to do security for you for $500. That's the only reason you're going to see me. So you got to know your value. But once you start getting those certifications and you start putting yourself in the right circles with the right people, the opportunities will come, because the people that you're around will make sure that happens for you. And for that content. So last thing I'm going to say, security classes, executive protection classes. If you're interested in the business, get serious about this. My company is the fastest growing executive protection school in the world. We hold 5 to 6 classes every year across the United States. We're the only security firm that is doing that. And we are now venturing internationally to teach these classes as well. So this year coming, we have 2 classes. We have, Bungie, I want you to know this. I moved the class from September to October because of some of the details we got in September. So I just didn't want to run the chance of running into that. So we are going to do the class in September. Bungie, could you type the class, the name of the company and the website in there for Joseph? So we're going to do, Joseph, I'm great to tell you that. So the classes that we have for the remainder of this year is in DC, Washington, D.C. in October, and then we'll be in Miami in December, end of November, December. And then next year, the first class we have is in Vegas. We'll be back in D.C. again in March. Vegas is February, D.C. is March. We go to New York, Toronto, and then Dallas, I believe. I believe that's all of the cities. And we may add one more class at the end of the year, but Bungee's going to put the class information in there for you, the website for you guys to go to. Yep, MVP Protective Services. And he's going to put the website in there for you guys to check out the classes. And then I have a couple of videos on the classes on this page. I think I have 1 or 2 videos on my YouTube Shorts, just an example of what we do. But I'm certain that I have more class videos on my Instagram page. So that's it. And you guys, just thank you for the comments. Thank you for those of you who bought the super chat. I think De Silva from Brazil bought the super chat. Thank you guys for that. Thank you for the likes. This really helps my channel grow. And just know this is that there is no other security channel on the internet like this. You'll never find somebody who's going to come on and drop knowledge for free to you guys. I don't have, like, when people come online, they again, I said they're gatekeepers. We're gateway. So they're guarding information, they're guarding opportunities. That's not what we're about here at MVP. This channel is to expose you guys to the truth about the industry and expose you to opportunities where you can grow in the industry, and to expose you to people who are already in this industry doing the things that you want to do. So I hope that you learn a lot. If you haven't, this is the first time that you're seeing me live or seeing me talk, and you just can't stumble across this. But if you've never went through, thank you, Joseph. I appreciate you, my brother. And you never scroll through my content, just scroll through there. If you're not impressed, I'll shut my channel down. If you're not impressed by what's on my channel, if you can't learn something from what's on my channel, I'll wake up tomorrow morning and delete my channel altogether. I promise you that. Because this channel is to help people like you who are interested in this field, who are already in this field, to grow and become better protectors. Remember, at the end of the day, you want to make money, but you also want to make it back home to your families. So, guys, thanks for watching. It's later than I wanted to be on. Tomorrow, I'll be back around the same time. I was going to say 9 o'clock. And tomorrow, I'll be talking about your personal brand. I'm going to also tell you guys how I built my company from nothing to make it a multi-million dollar international security business, and how you can do the same. All right. Talk to you soon.